Hey there, my Green Fire Motivation community. How are you guys doing this evening? This is my second video for today, and I'm excited. I actually had one of my Green Fire Motivation community members to actually send me a copy of their Maximize Your 24 Hours in a Day activity sheet, which I actually just rolled out the activity sheet this morning, and they actually took the time to sit down and actually make their activity sheet. So, Mr. Ham, special thank you to you. This video is dedicated directly to you because you were confident enough to send me your activity list and also agreed for me to review it live so that everyone else can get an even better idea of how the 24 hours in a day or the Maximize Your 24 Hours in a Day activity sheet should look, and also to give you some of the reasoning behind it, the reasoning behind the different bullet points and what they mean. So welcome to the Green Fire Motivation channel. My name is Judy Owens, aka Green Fire Motivation. The intention of this channel is to get you to take action and take control of your life. So, I'm not going to ask a question because I did ask the question this morning. I'm going to repeat the question. What do you do to maximize the 24 hours in your day? Okay? What do you do to maximize the 24 hours in your day? So this morning I went over in detail how to create a list, how to create a activity sheet for you to maximize the 24 hours in your day. And like I said, Mr. Ham actually contributed his sheet, his activity sheet, so that we can actually review it. Once again, thank you. So, okay, guys. I'm trying to get my thoughts together because after reviewing this activity sheet from Mr. Ham, I actually at some point could identify with the struggles of trying to find time. So if you're like me and you have a busy schedule, sometimes people will ask you to do things, to go places and do things for them, and you'll say, I don't have enough time. Now, sometimes sometimes you're just saying, I don't have time because you just don't want to do it. And then there are other times where you're saying you don't have time because you truly do not have the time. So with Mr. Ham's schedule and the way that he broke down his 24 hours, I can definitely see how it could be a bit taxing to try to find extra time to do things that just don't seem to fit. Okay. So I have a couple of suggestions. Now, of course, you're going to make your own decisions, and anyone else who's watching this is going to make their own decisions. But it's my thoughts that with these suggestions, you can make some adjustments. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the list and explain, or not explain, but I'm going to go down the list and tell you how Mr. Ham's day goes. So he has 24 hours in a day. He starts work at, or he gets up for work at 2:20 a.m. So 24 hours, this is how it goes. So he sleeps for 6 hours, meals 1 hour, self-care 1 hour, family time 0, work time 15 hours, lunchtime 1 hour, green means go time 0 hours. So 6, 1, 1, 15, 1, and 0. So that is a total of 24 hours in Mr. Ham's day. So I can definitely see where there's a struggle. For one, the sleep, hey, as long as you know how many hours of sleep that you need for your body to function properly, hey, I'm going to put a check mark beside that. I see nothing wrong with that. Meals. Okay, so I don't know how often you eat. You put down meals 1 hour. So if you put down meals 1 hour, I'm thinking maybe you do a lot of fast food, or maybe you do a lot of, buying food so you don't have to cook. That's the only way that I can figure you can fit eating 3 meals into an hour. So If that's how it's been working for you, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm going to put a check next to that. Self-care, 1 hour. Okay, so here's my thing about the self-care. As I stated earlier, you don't want to look up and find that you're not taking care of yourself, because if you can't take care of yourself, you definitely can't take care of anyone else. So I would argue or suggest, if you're only doing 1 hour of self-care per day, make sure that it's productive self-care. Self-care is, your daily hygiene. Self-care is your mental state, praying. Self-care is, if you need to clip your fingernails. Self-care is, just taking some time to sit down and be still, truly relaxing your body. Not sleeping, but just truly relaxing your body, okay? So I would say if you could find a way to add maybe 15 to 30 more minutes, I think you may have a more effective self-care time slot. Maybe about an hour and 30 minutes. The main reason why I say that is because if you shower twice a day, that's a minimum. Well, estimating. I don't know how long it takes you to shower, but I'm estimating 20, 25 minutes. That's, 25 minutes times 50 minutes. That's already an hour, So I would say to add about 15 to 30 minutes so that you can get that additional time and the relaxation time. If you study the Bible, studying your Bible, or, doing a jigsaw puzzle or what have you, a little bit more self-care time. So I'm going to put a plus 30 minutes beside that, okay? Now, where that 30 minutes is going to come from all depends on you, okay? It all depends on you, how flexible you're willing to be, how you're willing to adjust your 24 hours to get that extra 30 minutes in. Now, it doesn't have to be, this is not a set in stone thing. These are suggestions, okay? So the next one, it says family 0. That's a problem. That's a serious problem. It's a serious problem. I mean, I don't know any other way to say it. If you have absolutely no time in the day for your family, time is going to pass by. Eventually, they're not going to know you. And you never want that to be the situation. You never want that to be the situation. Like, you'll find yourself alone. And it's not that it's anyone's fault per se, but without adjustments to that 0, without adjustments to that time slot, yeah. So here's my suggestion, right? Okay. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go through the rest of these, and I'm gonna give you the rest of the suggestions. So, Mr. Ham, I hope you're listening. Okay. So work 15 hours. 15 hours. Now there's 24 hours in a day, so that means you're working over half of the day. That means your body is in a state of unrest for a minimum of 14 hours a day, which, now I'm going to go ahead and tell you, the body can adjust to just about anything. So if you've been doing this for years and years and years, then of course, you'll get tired, but it'll take a little while for you to get tired, maybe a couple of days, maybe, a week or two before you really start to feel the burn in not resting your body properly. Then I see it says lunch, you have an hour, which, most people do. Most people have an hour lunch. So I'm going to put a check mark beside that. If you notice, there's 2 things that I did not put a check mark beside. I did not put a check mark beside the 0 that's beside family. And I did not put a check mark beside the 15 hours of work time. I'm not putting a check mark beside either of those, okay? Then the other thing is, the last one, green means go time, okay? You put a 0, okay? So I'm not going to put a check beside that either. But what I was saying about the green means go time, what I was saying is, if there are things in your life that you're trying to change, or there are things that you're trying to make better, the green means go time. That's when you would start to focus on those things. Like, say, for example, if you're trying to get out of debt like I am, then you may take, 30 minutes or so, maybe an hour, to sit down and read a book about debt reduction, or listen to maybe a 15-minute YouTube video that gives you some insight and some tips on how to reduce your debt. That's what I meant. Basically using Green Means Go time to pour into the things that you're trying to change, things that you're trying to make better in your life. Okay, so Green Means Go time doesn't mean go to work. It's not in reference to your daily work habits or your daily work schedule. This is outside of work, okay? All right, so in addition to the schedule that Mr. Ham sent me, his activity sheet, he also sent another message saying he can only enjoy family and friends on his day off. So if you notice, the family spot said 0. Okay, family spot says 0. Okay, so here's my question. Before I go into everything else, my question is this, Mr. Ham, and if anyone else who's listening to this, I want you to ask yourself this question too. So if you had a schedule like this to where you spent absolutely no time with your family during the week, okay, because it just wouldn't fit, how would you feel about that? I mean, really take a few seconds to think about that. If you have children, if you have a wife, if you have parents that you're really close to, sisters and brothers that you're really close to, or even not close to, but you just don't have the time to give to them, how would you feel about that? Okay? How would you feel about that? Now, if you're the type of person where, it's not a priority for you to have that, connection with other people, then it may, you may be fine with it. And if that's the scenario, hey, I'm not knocking you. Do what you have to do, right? However, if you're thinking about this statement and you're saying, I'm not happy about it, this is not a good thing, my schedule is absolutely packed, I don't know what to do, okay, so then I need you to listen closely to the next few minutes of this video, because here is the meat of the video, okay? So, this is Green Fire Motivation telling you that if you have absolutely no time during the week for your family, a big 0, a big egg goose, a big goose egg, you have 0 time, Green Fire Motivation is telling you these two words, be creative. Okay? Green Fire Motivation is telling you if you have absolutely no time for your family at all during the work week, 0, you need to be creative. Okay? Be creative. All right? So here's the deal. People make time for the things that are important to them. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that your family is not important. What I'm saying is you have to get creative so that your family knows that you still are there for them. Okay? Everybody has to work. Everybody has to make money or have some form of income. And I don't know many people who can just sit home, do absolutely nothing, and just make millions of dollars. Now, I'm not saying they don't exist, but are you one of them? If you're watching this video, probably not. I know I'm not one of them. So people make time for what's important to them. So if you're saying you have absolutely no time left over for family, you got to get creative, okay? Now here's the deal. You have to make some adjustments, okay? You have to make some adjustments, hands down. There is nothing else, because you can't add another hour to a 24-hour day, okay? You have to make adjustments. I remember Minister Patty Levinson, she was actually doing a sermon, and she said, use what you got. Use what you got. So this is Green Fire Motivation, repeating what Minister Patty Levinson said. Use what you got. You got 24 hours in a day, so this is the deal. Okay, so you want to make it your best effort. When you're creative, you want to give your best effort, okay? Because understanding that you have a limited amount of time to make sure that your family knows that you love them, you have to put your best effort in, okay? Now, Here we go. So the first thing I want to tell you, Mr. Ham, I'm talking to you directly at this moment. Everyone else is listening in, but at this moment, I'm talking to you directly. Okay, so you or anyone else who's working a 15-hour day every single day, 5+ days a week, you have a decision to make. Okay? And the decision is, one, whether you're going to stay at that job and continue to work these hours. You're going to continue to stay there and work those hours and be unhappy because you have no time for your family, or you're going to leave that job and find something else to do. Now, your decision is your decision. What I'm letting you know is either you're going to be unhappy without the family, or you're going to be happy with the family. If your decision is to stay at that job, here's your alternative, okay? The words be creative. Okay, so here's the deal. If you're going to be creative, you got to make it work. You have to make it work. You know why? Because kids are kids as long as they're in your house. But once they move out of your house, then what? How are you going to continue to communicate with them and continue to let them know that you love them? If you have a wife, you live with your wife. Every single day she sees you sleep for 6 hours and then that's it. She might see you eat for 40 minutes and then that's it. Is that enough to sustain a marriage? No. And I'm pretty sure you would agree with me. And anyone else who's listening to this understands that you need more than watching your spouse sleep for 6 hours and then watching them eat for 40 minutes in order to sustain a marriage, right? Okay. So here's the deal. This is what I wrote down. Now, guys, I'm literally going off the cuff. I wrote some stuff down, so make it work. The question is, where can you make adjustments? Where can you sacrifice? What part of your 24 hours can you make adjustments to where you can make it work? If you're going to stay at this 15-hour job, then you have to do something different, okay? You have to find a way to make it work. Okay, so here's the deal. You say you sleep 6 hours, right? I'm going to attempt to help you find that time. You say you sleep for 6 hours. Can you give up 15 to 30 minutes of sleep time? Can you cut it down to 5.5 hours? Now, hey, look, once again, these are suggestions. Can you cut it down to maybe 5.5 hours? So remember we were talking about the self-care, and I was saying you probably want to get about another 15 to 30 minutes in of self-care while you're awake. Hey, bam, 5.5 hours of sleep. You just gain 30 minutes that you can move into the slot of self-care. Okay. And matter of fact, if that's the case, if you want to take off, put 15 minutes into the self-care time slot and move 15 minutes into the meals time slot, then maybe you can sit down and eat with your family a little bit longer. See what I'm saying? Okay. So here's the other thing, right? Communication is key when it comes to relationships, whether it's relationships between family members, friends, what have you, right? Okay. So how often do you write letters? Do you write letters? Maybe. Do you send text messages? Do you make phone calls? These are all ways that you can communicate with your family and friends if needed. You can communicate with your family and friends even though you have a crazy work schedule, okay? If you got a phone, it doesn't take but maybe 2-3 minutes to send a text message and say, hey, I'm thinking about you. My day is going well. I hope yours is. My prayer is that, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm not going to tell you what to say, but there's an idea for you. Communication, every person I've ever met always says communication is key. So if you're saying you have no time to spend with your family, you still have to find a way to get that communication in to where they won't feel neglected. And then you won't have to feel bad about neglecting them, because it's not intentional neglect. But if you're not paying them any attention for 5 days out of the week, that's a lot of time that you're missing out on. Okay, so communicate, send a text message. Hey, write a nice little letter and leave it on the table before you go to work. Or here's another idea. If you're working 15 hours, I know that you get outside of your hour lunch. I know you get like maybe 15-minute break here, 15-minute break there. Bam. Pick up the phone and call somebody. Hey, I haven't talked to you in a while, but I wanted to let you know I was thinking about you. How have you been? Kind of catch up. Now, you only have 15 minutes. And technically, if it's, 15 minutes, you got 2 minutes to walk out the door to where nobody will hear your conversation, 2 minutes to walk back. So you have 11 minutes to, to try to build some more rapport with, a family member or a friend. See? And the reason why I'm saying that is because a lot of times we'll let time slip away, not even realizing that it existed. I'm going to say that again. We'll let time slip away, not even realizing that it existed. Just like when you get on your cell phone and you start scrolling through Facebook and you 20, 30 minutes pass by and you're sitting here like, man, I didn't even realize that I was on my phone that long. But then, somebody will ask you, hey, can you run to the store for me? And the store run will only take like 20 to 30 minutes, but you're like, oh man, I don't have time. See what I'm saying? People make time for what's important to them. And if your family is important to you and you say you spend 0 hours with them for 5 days out of the week, then if you're planning to stay at that job, you got to find a way to make it work. You got to find a way to make it work, okay? So here's the other thing. Multitasking. Now, I'm not going to say multitasking is for everybody. Okay, I'm not going to say that. But for you, Mr. Ham, and anyone else who has 0 time for their family during the 5-day work week, you need to learn how to multitask. You need to get it down packed. Now, some people, they don't like to eat and talk on the phone. I get it. You want to enjoy your food. But say, for example, if you have an hour lunch break and, you say you have 0 time with your family, it sounds like you have an hour to talk to them. You have an hour to talk to them. Hey, when you go on a dinner date or a lunch date or a breakfast date, you guys have a conversation while you eat, right? Okay, so it's time to pick up that phone and use it for some FaceTime. It's okay if you dropping food. They've seen you drop food before, especially if it's a family member, right? Okay, so you got, hey, let's have a lunch date. I take lunch at this hour. Matter of fact, hey, look, this is my daughter. This is my wife. This is my son. I want to spend some time with you because I'm having trouble finding time outside of work or whatnot. Let's set a lunch date. Okay, so on Friday, I go on lunch at 11 o'clock. So I'm going to call you at 11:15, and I'm going to eat, and you're going to eat, and we're going to talk. You don't even have to hold the phone. Just put the phone on the table and put it on speaker, okay? Be creative. I cannot stress this enough. Be creative, okay? You have to change your mind about what time you have to spend with your family. If you're telling me 0 is all you have off for 5 days is 0 hours, that's a problem. You got to fix it. You got to change it. You got to be creative. You got to do what you got to do to make sure that communication is there, because communication is key to holding relationships, friendships, family ships together, okay? Now, I think I pretty much exhausted everything. However, what I will say is this. If anybody liked this video, if you like this video, definitely hit the thumbs up button, subscribe. I'm going to keep, matter of fact, I think I'm going to stay in this arena a little bit longer because time is something that's of the essence. It's very important. And if nothing else, we all know that we cannot get it back. I cannot get back the minute that I started this video 23 minutes ago. Just like I cannot get back the breath that I took 23 minutes ago. Once it's gone, it's gone. And it's the same way with time. If you have family, this COVID situation, a lot of people are leaving us. You don't want to be the one to leave before you actually had a time to leave that imprint, the proper imprint that you would like to leave on your family. So you don't want to leave here before you had the time to do what you felt was necessary to make sure that bond between your family and you was strong. Okay? So I think, like I said, I think I'm going to stay in this arena of time. The other thing is, Mr. Ham. Now, what I did notice that you didn't finish the activity sheet, and I didn't notice it until a second ago. You didn't finish the activity sheet, which is fine. If you want to send it to me after you finish, and I'll take a look at it again. Matter of fact, anyone who's still watching and anyone who actually completed the activity sheet, the Maximize Your 24 Hours activity sheet, you can send me your activity sheet. You can send it in a picture. You can send it in an attachment. And matter of fact, I'm going to give you guys my email address, okay? My email address is, hold on, give me a second. My email address is, and I just want to say thank you again to Mr. Ham for allowing us to go over his activity sheet, because I think that this video is probably going to help people more than the first one did, okay? So my email address is green, like the color, fire, like the element, motivation, 2020 at gmail.com, okay? Green fire motivation 2020 at gmail.com. Hit the thumbs up button. Send me your activity sheets, and I'll look over them and I'll respond. And if you're okay with it, I'll even review them right here on the YouTube channel. This is Green Fire Motivation, letting you know that green means go. Maximize the 24 hours in your day. I'll see you guys on the next video.